Hey guys, so I decided to do a story time for the last day, or second to last day of VLOGMAS. So I wanted to talk about sometimes I hate doing videos in public because I feel like everyone's looking at me. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the time I got held back.
Bet she doesn't touch like me. Sure as hell don't fuck like me.
And it's crazy because nobody really knows about this, and it's kind of like the people that do know, like, we just never really spoke on it because it's not really a great feeling to like know that you got held back. It's kind of embarrassing, honestly. So like literally after I got held back, like nobody really ever spoke about it. It was just like, we're just moving on with life. This is what it is. Now you learned your lesson, get it right, you know. But anyway, so let me tell you, for junior high school, my mom wanted me to go to a better school, and my aunt had told my mom about this school, this gifted and talented school in another neighborhood that my cousin was gonna go to. And my mom was like, okay, a gifted and talented school. I don't know how long it took her to really consider it, but basically like by like the end of the summer, like it was like, okay, I'm going to that school. I'm gonna move with my grandma and go to the same school as my cousin. I'm gonna go to school with my cousin, and I'm just gonna live there, and I'll come home on the weekends or whatever. So I was excited to go to the same school as my cousin. But yeah, I don't think it was the best choice. So basically I was living there in 6th grade. Let me see, 6th grade, 7th grade. So yes, we went there 6th grade. 6th grade was cool or whatever. And then we went, like, it was like regular, whatever, cool. We met a lot of people. And then 7th grade, we started hanging out with like these girls, and it was literally like 8 of us, because I remember like always counting how many people was there or how many people was in our crew. Because I think like I have like a slight OCD. I think I've always had a slight OCD, so I just remember always counting like 8 people. So the main crew was like 8 of us, and it was like all girls, and it was cool. Like we was all in the same grade, we was all cool. We ranged from like Cuban to black to Hispanic to other Hispanic races, like Puerto Rican, Dominican, and it was just a few of us black girls, because I feel like basically like we was in a neighborhood, a Hispanic neighborhood. So a lot of the girls that we hung out with, most of the girls that we hung out with were from that neighborhood, and most of the girls that went to the school was from that neighborhood, and they were all Hispanic. So yeah, so we hung out a lot, and then we just started getting into trouble, going down the wrong path. In the morning we would always be late, because we would like stand at the train station and wait for each other, and it was always somebody that was late. There's one girl that was always late, and she used to take the train coming from the same neighborhood that we was coming from, and we used to dead ass like wait for her. Like we used to try to like meet up with her in the morning, and she was never ready. So we used to be like, alright, we leaving, and then we used to leave, go to school, and then literally wait for her at the train station. So it was just like, why didn't we just stay home or sleep longer or whatever, you know? So we used to wait for everybody at the train station just so we could walk up like 4 blocks to the school all together, or we could hang out at McDonald's in the morning. Sometimes we would get breakfast. Sometimes we would talk to these other school kids from another school. It was literally like, our school was like a 4 block radius from the train station, and then it was another school which was a high school. Mind you, we was in junior high school. It was another school which was a high school that was like literally a 1 block radius, or like across the street from the train station. So walking from the train station, we would always see like the high school kids or like the high school boys, or we would like stop at McDonald's and the high school boys would be like in McDonald's waiting for us, waiting to talk to us, trying to bag, like just pure foolishness. So we started hanging out with them in the morning, going to school late, just mad stuff. Like sometimes we would like even cut school to hang out in McDonald's all day until like they were called truancy, or until like the security guard of the high school used to tell the boys like, let's go, get in here, or whatever. Like I guess they started catching on or whatever. So then we would go to school or whatever. We was always late for school. We was always doing some type of foolishness. And then after school we would like have to either like fight somebody, or we would have to like instigate a fight, or it would just always be something. And like we were just really bad, like and so during school, when we was actually in school, like we used to be running the halls, we used to always ask for passes, like stuff like that. But the thing is that I think I was a bit confused about is that like every time I turned around, it was somebody in the hallway, somebody calling me to the door in my classroom, like calling me out my classroom. Oh, we about to do this. Oh, for lunch we doing this. Da 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 da. And it's just like, I don't know what I was thinking, but basically like I was hardly going to school, and then when I was going to school, I was late for school, and then it was kind of like I don't think I was doing any work in class, because I was always leaving the classroom and stuff, and if I was doing work, then I wasn't excelling in my work. So therefore, like when the end of the year came and everybody was like everybody was going to the next grade and passing, and my shit said, my report card said 7.0 something, again, it was kind of like, whoa, like why am I back in the 7th grade and everybody's going to the 8th grade, you know? And it was just like, oh, okay, I didn't get the memo. Like y'all bitches was doing y'all work in class, and I'm over here acting like a fool in class, you know, acting out or whatever. So it was just like a lot for me when I seen that, and I was just like, damn, I gotta get my stuff together, because everybody's literally moving on. Even though they were bad, they were in detention constantly, they were constantly suspended, this, that, and the third, I guess everybody was still doing their work and doing what they had to do to go to the next grade. So basically, with that being said, when my mom found that out, she was like, oh, you're not going back to that school, blah blah blah, you're transferring to the school in your original neighborhood, you're not living at your grandmother's house no more, there's no type of like, you know, like control, basically. Like we was just running wild because we was at that age. So basically, like she made me come home, and I had to go to the junior high school in my neighborhood where my actual friends was that I grew up with. Like I grew up in that neighborhood, I was born and raised in that neighborhood, but then I moved to my new neighborhood, and then I made like, I was in my new neighborhood for like years, going to school, meeting friends, neighbors, like mad cool, everybody knew us for years. And then I went back to the neighborhood that I was born and raised in to go to junior high school. So now that I got left back, I went back to my original neighborhood that I started living in and growing up in or whatever, and where my sisters were and everyone was basically. And I had to go to junior high school there. So basically, like when I had left, everybody knew I left to go to this better school, whatever like that. And then I came back, and it was like, oh, well, oh, you're back. And it was kind of like, oh, you're back, but you're in a lower grade, but you went to a gifted school. Oh, how does that work, you know? So I don't know how, but I sucked it up, and I redid 7th grade in that school with a lot of the people that I began growing up with. And I don't think it was hard, because like I said, nobody really mentioned it. So I don't know. I would say it was a little weird, but it wasn't hard. Like people didn't tease me or anything. I just remember this one boy saying, oh, you should have just started here in 6th grade, you would probably be where you're supposed to be. I remember him literally saying that or whatever. So, and he was like really the only one that had mentioned it or whatever. I think everybody else like was either younger and they didn't even know what grade I was in, or they wasn't even in that school yet, or they just like really didn't care, honestly. But nobody really brought up the fact that I was doing like the 7th grade again, or they just thought that I was supposed to be there, like in that grade or whatever. So because a lot of the people that I knew that was like my friends basically knew me as like my sister's friend, like my sister's sister. So like everybody that I used to come into contact with, they used to be like, oh, that's Ari and Tati's sister. Like they literally knew me through my sisters. Like nobody really knew me because I was like a homebody. I was always like into books and stuff, not really running outside, running the streets or hanging out or whatever like that. And then when I had moved, that made it like even like, oh, okay, she's not here, or she doesn't exist, or you know, she's not as important, whatever like that. Like we know these two is the, you know, the outside sisters, the poppin' sisters, whatever the case was. So everybody always knew me as Ari and Tati's sister. I was literally a nobody, guys. So yeah. So I did the 7th grade again or whatever, and it was just fine. Like I just really learned a lesson. Like it really taught me a lesson that don't be a follower, because I feel like I was a follower back then. I was definitely, because I was not that type of person. Like I was mad quiet, I was mad chill, I was a good girl. And as soon as I get into school, my cousin, like we riffing and raffing the hallways and causing havoc, and you know. So basically, like, just think for yourselves. Don't be a follower, guys. Follow your heart, because that shit don't get you nowhere. That was a whole lesson. The good Lord taught me to not be a follower, because look at these girls. They're excelling and you're left back. Like literally the only one that got left back. So just think for yourself. Don't be a follower, be a leader. And I'm breaking curses because my son actually got skipped. My 8-year-old, yes, he got skipped in kindergarten. So he never went to 1st grade. He went from kindergarten to 2nd grade. So I'm doing something right, you know. Like that really taught me a whole lesson, like getting left back. All right, so don't get left back, y'all. All right, so I'm gonna catch y'all on the next Vlogmas. This will be Vlogmas day 30. So I'm gonna catch y'all on the next Vlogmas, or not.